So
You're
I'm
going
going to a concert.
Who's performing? Who are you gonna watch?
It's Co Wetzel. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. It's like red dirt country, Texas country music.
Oh, interesting. Fair enough.
Non-mainstream country. How's
I
that
see.
sound?
That's fair enough.
Man, I wonder, can you turn up, or should I put headphones in? I just can't hear you very good. Like, what would make that better?
Headphone.
Headphones
Okay.
probably, but it could be my
Okay.
mic.
No, I'm hearing
Okay.
you just fine.
Okay, I'll go. Let me grab some.
Sure. I'll start prepping to go live. Nikki T, I need that login if you could text it to me because I had some other messages.
Yep. I'll send you right now.
Nikki T98.
I'm also going to grab some tequila.
98.
Yes, please. Yes, please. We actually recommend it. Okay, I think I ordered it.
Capital G, then a 3. Oh, shit.
Did you send this to the wrong person?
I sent it to my friend Adam. But there you go. He just sent me oh, fucking hate.
It's having me log in through Safari. Yep, I got that part.
There you go.
I'm just gonna copy and paste.
Wait, are you logging in to Zoom or?
It's having me log in through Zoom because I went to go live on Facebook, so it's having me log in through Zoom on Safari. Nikki,
did you get my text?
Nikki T, yeah, I got your text. Let's see. Nikki T, oh, it's 398.
Yeah, I was not born in 1998, and the 398 is very random.
I decided I better grab a beverage too, because you know, just wouldn't be me without one. So.
Okay.
I don't even know where to plug these in at. I never use this kind of stuff. I literally live in the dark ages, you guys.
You're so silly.
Alena's living back in 2019.
I'm living in what?
You're living like in 2020, like 2001, before headphones were cool. I guess maybe headphones were cool.
Yeah, I'm living in like 1998, and it's fucking awesome. That's where I live.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Accurate.
Nick, I'm gonna post this on Ponytail's podcast page instead.
Do it.
So this is the first, Alena. This is actually the first time that we are live on our own page. Typically, we were going live on the uncensored page. So we are live now, and it is my pleasure to introduce the woman, the myth, the legend, my someone who's taught me so many life lessons, Alena Arendt. Woo! 1, 2, 3, how'd you do it?
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you guys. This is lovely. So
happy to hear. Oh man, when I realized that you were going to be on our podcast this week, I was like, oh, get down.
I love it. Actually, I said that the other day, and I hadn't said it in like 5 years, and I was like, ooh, I need to bring that back. It made me like excited. Get down. So.
Oh, get down.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay? Sound coming through all right?
I think that's better. So, like I said, I just
hell yeah
living in 1998, and I love it. So I just can't, technology.
It works.
But I've got it. We've got it.
What are you sipping on?
Cherry moonshine. It's homemade by one of my family friends. They have a big ranch south of where I live. And she gave me a big jug of it for Christmas, and I love it. It's delightful. It's a little too good. It's pretty good. So cherry moonshine on the rocks.
I would expect nothing less. Nick, is this live on Facebook for sure, or is it still thinking? Let me double check that we're going, and then we'll get started with this conversation about book stuff. Ever heard about Southwestern before, Alena?
Yeah, the airline.
When you first, let's just get into it. When you first heard about Southwestern, is that what you thought? We were like, this is.
No, I knew what it
as a
was,
stewardess? Like,
but that was always my joke when I was recruiting. I would like usually open my info sessions with something to that effect. I don't know why, because I just was amazed at how many kids would like think that, and I was like, "Are you?"
Andres, it doesn't look like we're going live yet.
oh, okay, hold on. Why are we not going live?
I don't know yet. Does it look like we're going live yet?
It says, no, it says it's preparing. That's why I'm going to stop this live stream and then try again.
You have to like put the
I
name.
might have to
and
reintroduce you, Elena.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Let me finish my smoothie. That way I don't have to drink this ugly looking thing on live Facebook.
Oh, please do.
Sure. What is this, number 14?
This is number 16.
16? Oh, shit.
Ooh,
Yeah.
isn't that a lucky number, kind of? Sure,
I would
it
say
is.
so.
For me, it is.
Yeah. I mean,
It is now.
a lot of great things happen when you're 16, so I'm sure it is.
Oh, yeah.
You get to drive. you get to play sports. You discover yourself as a human.
Yeah, is that what you called it? I don't know if that's what I called it, but I was discovering a lot of things when I was 16.
Oh man, I'm gonna make this at a 18 plus age range.
Yeah, you probably should.
Is that what it is?
Lord knows.
That way we can cuss.
Plus, who would want to watch this that's under
cuss.
18? I am not cool enough for those kids. I teach religious ed at my church, and they think I'm so lame. It's amazing. I'm like, I'm so fucking cool, and you guys have no idea. You are really lame if you don't think I'm funny and cool. But
I think you're the shit.
It's fine. They're 14. If they don't get it.
If anybody doesn't agree, they're wrong.
Yeah, that's just also what I tell them. Which I'm sure they really appreciate me saying things like that to them, which is probably why they like it so much. They just love to come. It's their favorite thing.
Oh man. Okay, once again, here we go. I realized the error of my ways just now. So now I am gonna get us going. Damn, this is exciting. Alena, I probably need to go get something to drink too, as this is loading.
Yeah, don't let me drink alone, assholes.
So that you're not alone. Oh.
But if Nick's driving, I get that that's probably not kosher where he lives. So you have to drink then, because Nick probably can't.
Yeah.
Unlike where I live, and it's just customary to have a beer in the car. So
here we go. Alrighty. I think we're Gucci now. We're on. Hell yeah. We're on with Alena Arendt. Let's go. The legendary badass book chick. You are the shit, man. I'm so excited. This is so good. Okay.
We're really doing it this time.
This is it. This is for reals. How many summers? 6 summers?
Welcome to Ponytails Podcast, episode 16 with Alena Arendt. Take it away, Andres.
Yay!
Yeah, so
hello, boys.
Alena hails from Valentine, Nebraska. It's quite cold up there. Cherry County, fun fact, the largest county in the United States by land size, correct? It's bigger than Rhode Island.
Yeah. Also, the most cows in the United States reside in Cherry County too. So winning in more ways than one.
Claim to fame. Valentine's Day is coming up. This is just perfect timing, really, to have you.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. How fitting. That's right. February's like in a couple days.
It's crazy. The month already went by. Life's going quick. So let's jump into it because we're gonna have you we're borrowing you for just a few moments per se, relatively. But I want to just dive in. You were telling me, I want you to tell the story because I know the origins, but you already knew what Southwestern was before you started.
I did.
Right? Tell me about that.
My dad sold books back in the day. He went to South Dakota State University and he sold books for 2 summers, one in Louisiana and one, I think, in South Carolina or something. and it's always been very near and dear to his heart. And so the person that recruited me actually started selling books the summer before I did. And she's from my hometown too, and one of my best friends. And so when she was going to go sell books, I remember her parents being super apprehensive, and my dad being like telling her parents that they should let her go. So she went and sold books her first summer, and then I was on her team when she was a B manager. So yeah, so I had always known about Southwestern. My dad has a big family, and he's one of 13, and like half of his brothers and sisters sold books. So like 5 of my aunts and uncles sold books like back in the 70s and 80s. So
that sounds like a recipe for something. What are family reunions like?
Do you guys do execs?
They're insane. I mean, actually, yeah. I don't know. I count. My mom has a big family too. I counted once. I've got like 67 first cousins or something like that. So
oh, no way. That's
it's
so
great. Awesome. It's great. If you can imagine a bunch of people just like me in one room, it's lovely. It's not for everybody, but it's like a good Nebraska way to weed out prospects quickly. Like they're either in or out. So
just like Nebraska, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. Yep. But I love it. I love my big family. So yeah, so I knew what Southwestern was, and I didn't want to go do it at first. But Alyssa made a lot of money her first summer. She's one of my best friends, Alyssa Sage, now Clay. She married Tyler Clay, who sold books.
Legend.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember when she came back, I was amazed at how much money she made. So she started to try to recruit me, and I was pretty on the fence about it. So she had her DSM, Matt Atchison, help recruit me because I went to Morningside College. So I wasn't at like a big school that had a big program. I was just there. I was the only kid from Morningside. My first summer. So yeah, that Matt kind of like sealed the deal and got me to sell books. That's a pretty funny story if you want to hear it. So
yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, so like he came up to Morningside a couple different times to meet with me, and I was pretty on the fence, not sure if I wanted to do it or not, because I knew enough about it that I was like, well, it's really freaking hard, but I really wanted to make the money. So anyways, I did track and cross country when I was in college, and we had I think it was I had a cross country meet in Lincoln, and I was going to stay with some friends and party afterwards, because that's what I like to do.
Of course.
So anyways, after our meet got over, I went over to one of my friends' apartments, and I had told Matt that I would be in town, and he was like, well, it'd be nice to meet with you. You know, we can talk about selling books some more. Maybe it would help you make your decision if you could meet some other book kids besides Alyssa and just kind of see what it's like. And so I said, sure, that'd be great. And so he's like, well, I'll just bring some people over to your friend's apartment if that's okay. And I was like, sure, whatever, I don't care. And so it was Atchison, Keith Hogeem. I don't know if you've heard of Keith. He was like a 7 Summer bookman, went to law school at UNL, sold all the way through law school, did super well. Anthony Fulton, who was one of my OLs my first summer. He lives like outside of Chicago now. But so Matt, Fulton, and Keith walk into my friend's apartment, and they've got 2 giant like paper sacks full of booze. And Matt just walks in and he's like, hope you girls like White Russians.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, these people are pretty cool. Maybe I do want to go do this.
Recruiting. No
anyways, yeah, so we so they make us all drinks, me and my friends, and we're just like shooting the shit and getting, because I obviously had never met Keith or Anthony, and I had only met Matt like once or twice. But I think Alyssa had told Matt that I like to party, and so he was like, oh, we're just gonna get this girl drunk and she'll definitely come.
Wow, that's awesome.
Not obviously the recruiting tactic that most people get, but then again, it worked for me. So anyways, so yeah, they make us all these drinks and we're having a good time. And then Matt's like, well, we should take you to a house party at a book guy's house. And so my friends were like, yeah, we want to go to a house party. Let's go to a house party. So we we end up going to a house party actually at Greeter's Lake House. Unbeknownst at the time, that's what it was. But so Matt takes us over there, me and my friends, and there was just a ton of book people, and Grant was having a big house party, and I got super drunk. Matt made me take all these shots. He said it was my training and like initiation. And I remember at the end of the night, we made popcorn on the stove, and if I ate it all, he was like, "Then you can be in our book club." And I was like, "Yeah."
He read the crowd and understood his client, his target very well.
Yeah. So, anyways, I remember the next day I was like, those people are so fun. That's so cool. I'm definitely gonna go do that for the summer. So then I signed my PSL and I was like, yeah, I'm in. These people are fun. They like to party. I can go make a lot of money, so that's kind of how I got like that's what sealed the deal for me to go sell books.
That's quintessential Alena. My dad did it. He loved it. I care about my dad and I love him to death. I care about his opinion. My uncles did it and my family's done it. I'm not sure. Wait, there's party? I'm in.
I mean, yeah, kind of. It like fits the bill pretty good.
That's Alena. I love it. That is awesome.
Yeah. So after that, I was like pretty sold on selling books. Obviously, you can't help but love and adore Matt Atchison. So I was like, this guy's the man. He's so cool. He's going to be helping train me. And Alyssa and I are still really good friends. She's one of my best friends. And so, I decided it was good people. So
yeah, this is why I love this podcast. Like, I never knew this. I think maybe you probably said this before. And sometimes I hear you say that, but like, I've never knew this.
I didn't tell this story a lot because it's not probably the best way to try to recruit first.
Yeah, for any current manager listening, this is not.
Yeah, like that's why I didn't really broadcast it, because I was like, oh yeah, like I was recruited by my friend from high school, because that's probably what you should be doing to recruit people, and I was. Yeah. I just left out the like my DSM like got me drunk at a house party, and then I was like, yeah, I'll definitely sign my PSL now, because that's probably not like
epic.
The best thing to do for most people, but I'm not most people, so it's
that's fine. Okay. That is one of the reasons. That's my favorite thing about you, is you're not like most people. That's awesome. So that's hilarious. So where did you go that first summer? How did you do? How did you?
New York.
What was your thoughts? Okay.
Well, cool. Yeah. I had a short summer, my first summer, because my morning side was on a little bit different schedule than like UNL and UNK, the big schools in force at the time. And I also was going on like a little school trip. I went to Israel for 3 weeks before I went to sell books. So I only had an 8-week summer, my first summer. Okay. And so they were going to have me live with the Wisconsin kids in Philadelphia. So I did actually sell in Philadelphia for, I think, 2.5 weeks. Nice. Okay. But then I think, I wasn't really liking it. I remember that. I think I was thinking about quitting, was probably the biggest reason they moved me. I was like, I can't deal with, I'd only been on a plane like twice in my life. And so living in Philadelphia from where I'm from was, whew.
Yeah, that's
quite the culture shock. So then I moved in with Morgan Werdeman when she got back from Scotland.
Yes.
And so I lived with her in one other first year named Mel. And we lived in Hudson, New York, upstate New York, like in between Albany and New York City. So
heck yeah.
By Poughkeepsie.
So yeah, that's fantastic. We got to do a couple shout outs. Shout out to Matt Atchison. We got to get him on this cast at some point. Great guy. Shout out to Morgan Werdeman, who is now Burgess.
Yeah, you should get both of them. Morgan and Pete.
Pete is on the list. He is now an airplane.
Yeah, he's a pilot.
Yeah,
Pilot
Pete. And so
not the Bachelor one.
I actually, believe it or not, I flew with Pete in Council Bluffs. He took me to Municipal Airport and took me above Omaha, and I got to fly around Omaha and see where my house was, where I was living with Brandon.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun.
It's a good time. Recommend. We're trying to get him on an episode. We do like every once in a while do like a couples edition, like book couples that met because of sold books. So like his brother and his wife, and then we met with like Aubrey Bell and Jake Lowe, and so like Brendan and Amanda Q, like just it's just a kind of spin on episodes. So cool. So okay, so that's how you got recruited. That was your first summer. So then before we get to why you left Southwestern and kind of where you moved, talk to me about what are you up to now? Like what are you doing? And then also maybe if you can sneak in like a couple of things you learned from Southwestern that help you with what you do today. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So I live in my hometown. I moved back here a couple years ago. So I live in Valentine, Nebraska, the Heart City, Cherry County, Western Nebraska, cow capital. I manage an insurance agency, so I sell insurance. Yeah. What else?
Yeah. So then like
what I learned.
Yeah, with like some how to like what are like maybe a couple of things that you took from Southwestern that you're applying that
like
help you in your success?
everything. Yeah. I mean everything obviously, but especially I took this job almost 2 years ago, and with the intention, like there was a lady running the agency that wanted to retire, and so I was going to replace her. And she was supposed to train me a little bit more on insurance and just learning the ropes and getting to know the customers and everything. Well, she ended up having to retire way earlier than she planned on. So I got thrown into running it like with less than a year of experience. And I cannot like say enough how grateful I am for like selling books and just being coachable, but also having a problem solving attitude, because I, for the last year, have had to like teach myself how to do my job every day.
During a pandemic.
In a pandemic.
No big deal.
Yeah, working from home for part of the time. Thank God I didn't have to do that for as long as some people do. It just wasn't for me. But anyways, yeah, I'd say that's the biggest thing that's been helpful to me, is that like just the attitude of like, where there's a will, there's a way, and you can persist until you succeed, and you can problem solve your way through shit, teach yourself things. Just that like, I can do it mentality. I don't make excuses. I just man, that's so helpful to me, because I have we're bank owned, we're owned by a bank, so my office is in a bank, and you can just tell, I mean, we all can, you know, when you have coworkers that don't have some of those mentalities and haven't learned some of those principles, you're just like, wow, I'm so grateful I'm me. So that's probably the biggest thing I use every day, is just the fact that I'm like, well, I can either make an excuse or I can figure out a way to get this done. So
like a boss.
Yeah. So, but also, just having a good attitude. The basic sales skills are always so helpful. You don't even realize that you have them. Being able to close people and ask good questions and that type of stuff. Having a good attitude. I think I just said that, but because it's that important.
Yeah.
So
super duper.
It's pretty legit. I was just reading about it's a book called The Happiness Advantage, and the guy talks about like just positive mentality and just the real power that can have. Recommended if you're looking for a book to read, by Sean Aker. You've probably seen the TED Talk. He's the one that talks about how his sister is a unicorn and then she fell him. It's the book
I'll have to remember that. I'm in this like community development group, and we kind of do a book club thing. That's cool. And so I'm always looking for ideas for that, because we read a book a month.
It's super interesting. Definitely recommend it for sure.
Awesome.
Okay, so that's what you're up to now. Cool. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about maybe your experience with like when you left Southwestern. Why'd you leave? Good, feel free to share whatever you want to share. And then maybe like if that's a shorter answer, then like a couple of things that you wish you would change looking back on it now.
Sure.
That'd be cool.
Gosh, when I left, I mean, there were some things. I'm trying to remember what kind of like set the snowball into effect, I guess, of like me feeling like I needed to move on. But I don't know. It just, sometimes you can just kind of tell when your life, needs to take a different direction or you need to change. And I was kind of getting to that point. I didn't have the best summer by any stretch of the imagination. And it just brought up a lot of like deep-seated, not issues I guess I had, but just some things that I was like, my heart's not in this anymore. I'm not passionate about it really as much as it deserves the time and attention that it needs to be. Like any job, I mean, you really need to care about what you do. I mean, that's something that my dad and I are very close, and he's somebody I definitely admire. And I remember when I decided that I didn't want to sell books anymore, and I told him, he was just like, well, you just have no business doing something that your heart's not in. And it's just always stuck with me. I think that's a very true statement, that so many people just try to make things work when it's probably not where they're being led to, and it's not what God wants them to, maybe not quite in the plan that God has for them. And so I guess kind of got to that point with Southwestern. Unfortunately, that was like right. And I kind of had known that. That's one thing that's sometimes tough with Southwestern is, it is so hard and it's such a vacuum that sometimes there's a lot of pressure for you to stay when maybe you shouldn't. And when it's pretty evident that it's not in your best interest, but they put the pressure on you to stay anyways. And that's kind of how I felt. So I finally
like the commitment was over the top.
What?
Do you feel like the commitment was over the top in terms of?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I had a conversation with a friend that sold books a couple weeks ago. And this was our conversation about that. So when you're in college, like, I firmly, wholeheartedly believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, still do to this day, that there is like almost nothing better that a college could be doing with their summer.
Sell books,
like if you haven't graduated yet, or you just graduated, like summer after, like I still believe that. So like, I very much like the commitment level and the like pressure to sell books while you're in college. I'm like I agree with that 100%. But like, you've got to take a step back when you've got some of these full timers that aren't making any money. They're not getting any better. They are, I mean, frankly, if anything, it's hurting who they are and their potential more than it's helping them. Like that attitude of there's nothing better you could be doing. I don't buy it.
Right.
So I think there's two ways to look at it, because those are two very different situations. And so, yeah, I got to the point where I was like, no, like, stop telling me that this is the best place for me to be. I was like 24 or 25. I might have been 26. I mean, I sold for 7 summers. So yeah, I was probably 26 or 27. 26. I think it was 26. And I was like, don't tell me that this is like, I want to have a family someday. Like, I'm tired of my house being just a storage unit. Like,
gosh.
That's how I felt though. Like, I never was in my bed. I recruited at 4 different campuses. Like, I was always on the road all year round, not just in the summertime. I recruited at UNL. I did recruiting at Morningside. I went to USD. I did Wayne State. Like, I was at all these schools all the time. And so I'm getting in the weeds a little bit here, guys, but
no, it's okay. It happens naturally in these. This happens so much. That's why I love this podcast.
I'm sure. Well, it's like you don't think about this stuff for whatever 5, 7 years or 10 years for some people, and you're like, oh wow, okay, what did happen? I don't even remember. Yeah. So, anyways, I just like I felt a lot of pressure after that's my 6th summer to come back. And I didn't have the balls to stand up and say, you know what? No, this isn't best for me anymore. I caved to that pressure. And I think it was finally in like the end of March or April. I came home to help, I think, with calving. Yeah, that's what I came home for. My family, we own some cows. And I remember driving back. And I don't have anxiety or, some of those types of things, and I had like a panic attack, which is rare for me because that's just not me. I don't luckily have to deal with that. And I did driving back, and I was just like, this is not okay. Like, I shouldn't have to feel this way. It is just a job for me at this point. Like, I've been doing it for 6 years. I think it's time for me to move on. So
with a reaction like that, it's pretty indicative.
Yeah. So I, on Monday, told my leaders that I was not going to sell books, which did not go over super well. You can imagine, like a couple months before sales school. But I was proud of myself. I stuck to my guns, and we worked out a plan where I field managed for like a couple months my younger brother was also getting married that summer, and we're super close. And I was like, no, like, you know what? Don't tell me that the summer is more important than my baby brother's wedding. I want to be a part of that. I'm not flying in right before the rehearsal dinner and taking off at 5 a.m. Sunday morning. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, this is so important to me. This is far more important than some job. Yeah. So, that helped put it in perspective too. I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to miss this for what? For knocking on doors. One of the ways I always put it was, it's probably the best internship in the world, which is why if you're in college and you haven't graduated, go fucking do it. It doesn't matter if you're introverted, extroverted, into sales or not. Go for it. Just, it's such an amazing experience. Exactly. Best internship ever. But I don't know that for some people it's the best career ever, you know? So it's the best internship. Yes. Is it the best career for everyone? No. And I think when you realize you've gotten what you needed out of the internship section and you're not necessarily committed to the career part of it, you should probably go. I would say a lot of the people that we've talked to have said we stayed one summer too long. Yeah. It's been a common occurrence. And the people, it's interesting because the people that said that they stayed the number of summers that they should have left more peacefully and with a lot less pressure. And so I think that is something that's changing in the culture, at least from being connected to my brother and his wife and like how they recruit now. But it seemed to me that at the time I kind of experienced the same thing as you did, where the buying atmosphere wasn't there for coming back. Yeah, no, like and there was so much pressure, I felt like. Yeah. And even when I was done, so when I got done, field managing, yeah, I mean, you just were like, wow, this is it. Okay. Like, you guys, I don't know. It's like kick you out the back door kind of attitude. And I hope they do better with that, because I mean, I wasn't the best ever or anything, but I don't believe in treating anybody that way. I mean, people have dignity, you know what I mean? And they should be treated as such. So, yeah. Yes, I agree with you 100%. And that's something, at least from the force side of things, I've noticed, because when Danny, I sat down with Danny one time when we were trying to help him rebuild the force, because it was after Grant and Yvette both left. It was kind of his choice. If he left, it's kind of the end of the force. If he stayed, he could try to salvage it. And he's done a great job at doing so. But one of the things I told him as I was leaving, I was like, dude, whatever you do when people leave, do not make them feel like they were only important to you because they made you money. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and luckily, I mean, and I shouldn't say, the nice part is like my leaders, Grant, Yvette, I mean, they were the only two there by the time I was done. My other, DSMs had left before me, but God, and they don't, and I get the position that they were in where they wanted me to stay. But once I was like, I'm done, they were awesome. It was more the upper leadership. Like, I still had to go to checkout that made me feel terrible. Yeah. It wasn't my DSMs. And that's one thing I've always been super proud to be part of Force, because I've seen things that other group DSMs and have done to people, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so blessed to have like Grant, Yvette, and Matt, because you do hear some sad things. So I can't say good enough things about them. It was more the upper leadership when I went to check out when I was done that made me feel like crap. So I can understand that. Okay, so the reason I left earlier is because I don't know what the pony story is that you're trying to tell, but I have one story that I would, if you wish to tell it, that is legendary. I would love for you to tell a funny or prime my memory, because I kind of forgot that I was supposed to do that in the last 30 minutes. I won't name any names, but it has to do with another person that you recruited who's also from Valentine. Oh my God, that story. And she is legendary for all sorts of different reasons. Yeah, I feel like you were probably talking about from my first summer, Andres. Yes. Yeah. Oh, no. I'm sure. Yeah, you were first to do that to your two. You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me this story on the air. You don't have to use the names. Man. If you don't want to use names, this is going on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, and Facebook. So yeah, I probably shouldn't. Yeah, that's probably smart. But you can tell the story. Let's just say her name was Susan.
Or
Sure.
yeah, Susan.
That
And
sounds good.
You recruited
love it.
Susan.
Where do I even start? Oh my gosh.
This story has to be on
Man,
record
I just gotta
somewhere.
think for a second because there was so many like things.
This is unbelievable.
I'm so glad you remember this because I like this was not I had like one story in mind and it wasn't this one.
It hit me as you were talking about like going back home or something. That's why I was like, oh,
You're like,
I'm like,
oh,
you gotta tell me
yeah.
this story. This is like there's like
Okay, we
amazing
built
poop
it up
stories.
enough. Just tell the story.
Oh, you got
So
You
I
gotta go for it.
recruited Susan. I'm such a bad liar.
Susan April.
What?
Susan April. Different month of the
What?
last
Yeah,
name.
first and
April?
last name, Susan
No.
April.
Her last name is a month.
April.
Right?
That's so believable. Man, so I recruited this girl to sell books and I needed like one more person, I think, to have like a 10-person team or something.
Oh no, she was that person for you?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
or it was something like that. Or maybe it was like for a contest. I don't remember exactly. It might have been. I think I did get to go to PC dinner with like my 10-person team because so I got something out of it besides all the rest of the anyways, God, yeah. So I think she went to a different school, like a smaller school in Omaha. So I remember she came out a little bit late, like a couple weeks, and had kind of a slow start. And I kept like trying to help her and say, Susan, I gotta make sure I say the right name. I think it was by like her third week, like her sales were pretty bad. And she was like, yeah, I'm just getting my 80 demos in and trying so hard and blah, 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 whatever. And we were in Massachusetts. We were in like Central Mass. And she was living with a student manager. I don't think I think it was just her and the student manager. And yeah, I think I finally had to give her the like, hey, if you can't get your sales up by next week, I'm going to have to send you home, which I really did want to, because like I said, I'm from a small town. She's from here. I knew her parents really well. Like the last thing I wanted was for her to like lose money, because that would just look really bad. So then like a week 4, her sales were like magically like 20 units higher than what I said they needed to be. And progressively, like she just kept getting better all summer. Now, if I miss a part of the story that you remember that was great, please interject and add it in, because there were so many things. And
I've told this story several times.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. The funny thing is, she obviously comes home and I see her in the bar sometimes, and I do say hi to her. I mean, I just can't talk to her. I just can't, because I'm like, oh my, you're a psychopath.
This is epic.
Nobody even knows what she did. Nobody even knows what she did.
No, I've told like a couple people that are like close friends of mine that know what I did, so they get it. But no,
you need to reveal what she did. Nobody listening knows. Man, I
should like karaoke night just take over and she's in there and tell the story. Don't just, oh my God, I'm so mean. I'm so mean.
Just tell it to us.
We're getting so off track. Okay. So anyways, her sales all just speeded up because the end is the best part. So her sales progressively keep getting better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And like she like got recognition a couple times, and I'm like, okay, like she's getting it. And there was something off with her stats. I don't remember what, but like, it was a little bit fishy at times. And
they were too perfect, I think is what it was.
Yeah, it was like that. And so
I was
like checking her reports. Yeah, we were checking her reports, had the student manager checking her reports, but like was doing pretty good. And I think she checked out a week early for something. Like maybe her school started earlier.
She checked out with me, and I checked out a week earlier than most of the Nebraska crew. So yeah.
Yeah, like I think like Creighton and she went to Mary. I think they both started early.
You went to College of St. Mary, yeah.
Yeah. So, man, I'm just like brain farting. I'm trying to remember all the things because they're like popping in my head now, and I'm like, so
let me see if I can jog your memory from what I remember. So we went into delivery week and she went early.
Yeah.
And then she started tacking on like a piece.
That's right. She
Yes.
like tacked on how much? Like a piece, like
she
PC
had
or
1,200 units written going into delivery week. And it was towards the end of her delivery week. It was when we were starting to deliver. So like it was she was just 1 week ahead. And so we were getting stats from her delivery. So when we were doing delivery school, she had already tacked on like 600 units in the first like 5 days or something, the first 4 days. And we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We can do it too.
Well, I think didn't we have her come to like delivery school and like
and she talked and she
and like do a little demo on like how she was tacking on.
To this day, Shane Hertig says, dude, I thought to myself, if this girl can add on 1,200 units in a week of tack-ons, then I can do it. Like she raised belief.
600 in 1 week. She did 600 in 1 week. Calm down. Like she was like 2,500 units going into deliveries somehow, and she tacked on enough to quote unquote deliver 3,000 units or something crazy.
That's what it was. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. And I remember all of this because when I was a first year, I was watching her in Sunday meeting recognition circles, just like, all right, 50 sit downs, 60 sit downs. We're just like going up, and I'm like out at 40 because I'm a first year who sucks at getting in the door. And she's just like in there like 100, 110, 120. And everyone's like, yo, how did you do that? And she's like, well, the police officer, the sheriff in my county really likes me. And so he like drives out of his way to check on me. And so like everybody in my town just loves me. And
dude, she would say,
we're like, oh God, she had no tan whatsoever. And we would be like, whoa, how do you not have a tan? And
her
she's
skin
just like,
was so ruddy from all them cigarettes she was smoking. It kind of looked tan.
And I remember the one thing when you go, how'd you do it? She was like, I decided I was gonna be the sheriff and I was gonna clean up this town. And she would say things like that.
Oh God, I do actually remember that.
And it turns out, here's the story, right? She didn't sell anything.
So
she made it all up.
How did you find
4 units?
How did you find out, Alena? This is
So I think
oh my God.
I find out because I get a phone call from Yvette. So her deliveries are done. We think she delivered all these books and she's in checkout. And I get a phone call from Yvette at like 11:30 at night. And Yvette's like, we have a situation. And she was trying to do her checkout paperwork, and I don't remember exactly like how it started to come up, but like it was fishy and it wasn't adding up and it wasn't making sense because she had like sold no books, and so she didn't have any money, and she was like she kept telling Yvette that her remittance check would be there, that they were like gonna wire it or whatever because the bank didn't have it, and she left without it, which is obviously a huge no-no. But so I think that was like red flag number 1, if I remember correctly. And then
red flag number 2 was that she didn't have any books with her. Like typically when you go to checkout, you have like those extra books that you then
she did.
Or backwards. She had too many or something like that. Like that was what I remember. That was like one of the
she like was hiding them. So she said she like turned in some.
Okay.
And then like was trying to do her checkout paperwork and to get done, and like nothing was adding up. And I don't remember how Yvette was, but yeah, I mean, Yvette's obviously been a DSM for like 20 years. She's like, this shit stinks. Like clearly there's something not correct about this situation. So anyways, like, oh yeah, because she was missing a bunch of books, like 1,800 units or something like that. And yeah, that's what it was. There was no books. Like she had basically sold no books. Yvette had figured out based on her paperwork that she had basically sold no books. And so she was like, well, where's the books at? And she's like, I delivered them all. And just like was just blatantly lying to Yvette and like would not admit to anything. And so finally Yvette's like, well, you sure you didn't maybe leave some at your host families? Like, let's remember. You sure there's not some in your car? And like, so finally Yvette talks her into going down to the parking lot and looking in her car, and she's like opens all 4 of her car doors on her little red Ford Focus, and I remember what she drives was driving, and
I took a ride home in that fucking car, but keep
well,
talking.
I didn't even realize she smoked. I didn't even realize she smoked until, well, that's part of the story. I didn't know at this point that, now I said, like, I didn't even know that she smoked like a chimney, but
Oh man.
so Yvette is like, she's like, see, I don't know what you're talking about. I delivered all those books, like I sold all those books. And Yvette's like, well, the math's not adding up. Like, you clearly didn't. And she's like, well, let's check your trunk. Maybe there's a few in your trunk. And she's like, oh no, my trunk's broke. It hasn't worked all summer. You can't open it. My dad was supposed to fix it like before I left for the summer, and he didn't fix it. You can't even open it.
My God.
And Yvette's like, are you sure? And she's like, yep. And so she's like fake pushing the button on her keys. And is like, see, it won't open. And so and Yvette, conniving Yvette, like somehow got her away from like the driver's side door on her car, like said, okay, that sounds good, let's go back inside. So Paige starts walking inside, and so Yvette runs over to her car driver's side door and hits the trunk button on it, and the trunk pops open, and Yvette's like, oh my gosh, your trunk does work. And she's just like, oh, that's weird, it hasn't opened all summer. Like, still just like poker face, like not admitting to anything. Like, and Yvette at this point, I remember Yvette had said, like, are you sure you didn't maybe like add a few numbers to this? Like, it's okay if you did. We just need to know what happened. Like, tell us the truth. So anyways, her trunk was packed full. There was like 1,200 units in her trunk.
Yep.
And so Yvette was like, at this point, freaked out, because obviously I would be responsible for those because she was under me if she stole them. So Yvette was like, took her keys from her so she couldn't leave, made her go back to the hotel room, got a cart over there, unloaded all the books. And then that's when Yvette called me, because like you said, Nick, she had wrote up 3,000 units. So there was still 1,800 units missing, which is a lot of money for me to have to owe the company, because obviously she's not gonna pay it back. So that's when Yvette called me, and she's like, we've got to figure out where the fuck these books are. Like, she probably didn't sell anything. So we called the student manager that she lived with, and I'm like, have you been to your storage unit lately? Like, is there any chance that she left any books in there? So the student manager went, and to my recollection, checked, found 1,800 units basically in the storage unit. So added I did an inventory on the storage unit. They counted up what was in her trunk, and she had sold 4 units. There was 4 units missing from what she wrote up. So Yvette,
my God.
Yeah, Yvette, and like freaking Nick said, like, she had, like, you know, we had, like, I think put like some special thing out there about like deliver well and like go to Sizzler, because Paige is going, she had signed up for the Sizzler trip, like got all this special stuff in checkout, and
Guts Club, the whole thing.
The whole fucking thing. And so Yvette, like, because I remember Yvette was like, she's psychotic, because Yvette was like, okay, like, here's the deal. We found all the books. This is like what it is. Just come clean.
Like, I've been holding back the laugh this whole time.
Like Yvette was just like, she wouldn't admit to it. She was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Yvette. No, she was just like straight faced the whole time. To this day is like, I sold all those books. I don't know what you're saying. I sold all the books. So anyways,
insane.
The best part of this story though is the end. So I don't know if you guys remember this part of the story.
No.
So, okay, so I stayed like 2 weeks later. Me, Joel, Phil, and Megan Baker stayed like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks late, sold more books, delivered. One of my dad's sisters that actually did sell books, my Aunt Angela, she sold books with Dan Moore, actually, which is kind of cool. She lives in central Massachusetts. And so I was like, well, I got to stop and see my Aunt Angela before I go home. So I go see my Aunt Angela, and she gets out like her superstar book from like, and we visit, and she makes me coffee and all this stuff, and like asked me how my summer was, and we're having this nice conversation. And she was like, you know, I heard that you were up here selling books this summer because I wanted to call you, but I didn't have your cell phone number. I had the funniest thing happen to me at the library one day. She's like, no, I kid you not. I was like, oh my God, I about freaking shit my pants. She's like, so I took my Aunt Angela has 8 kids. So she's like, I took the younger ones to the library because it was like summer reading or whatever. And we pull up and there's a freaking car with Nebraska plates sitting in the library parking lot. And she's like, that's the weirdest thing ever. And she knows like county plates because she grew up in South Dakota is where my parents are from. And she's like, I saw the 66 county plates. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Cherry County. I'm pretty sure that's Valentine. Gosh, this girl probably knows Alena. Lena probably recruited her to sell books. Like my aunt's smart, obviously. And so she's like, so I'm just all jacked up. So I go in the library and I'm looking around and there's only about 4 people in here. And I'm like, so I go to one girl and I'm like, are you selling books for Southwestern? And she's like, this girl didn't know what I was talking about. So I go to this other girl and I ask her and, God, I don't even remember what she said. But so Paige was just sitting in the fucking library, like in the middle of the day. And so my aunt was like, oh, like on a good schedule. Cause my aunt sold books for like 5 summers and so like apparently gave her a raft of shit about being off schedule, asked if she knew me. She told her that I was her manager.
No way.
Yeah, for real. And I was like, so I called the event immediately. I was like, well, I figured out what Paige was doing all summer. Like,
you wouldn't believe it.
Sitting in the freaking library. But the worst part, so that was hilarious that my aunt had seen her in the library.
That's epic.
But like, so the weird part was because she kept saying that she was gonna have the money when she was in checkout and she was just waiting for her check to come, that the bank was mailing it. So when before I left, I went to her host families to like pick up any stuff that she had left and like any mail. And one of the things in the mail was a denial letter for a freaking loan from the bank for 20 grand. She was like going to go so far to like make this believable. She had tried to get a loan to have a remittance check. So I was like, that makes sense now why she was like, no, I'll have the money. I just got to wait for it. It's supposed to be here. Because she like went freaking applied for a loan for it.
Fucking crazy.
Craziest thing ever. So
what a way to end this episode.
So that is probably the craziest thing that happened to me on the book field, I guess.
Yeah, that was wild.
I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Honestly, I forgot too until like literally about 10, 20 minutes ago. I was like, oh my God, we got to hear about this story. The Susan story.
The Susan story, even though I said her name like 3 times. Yeah, whatever.
Who gives it? She's not gonna watch this.
Oh, I'm sure she won't. It would be hilarious if she did. Actually, I wouldn't even care.
Maybe we should have her on and have her share her.
Oh my God.
How about no?
But it would be kind of funny, like if she like had. Like,
so what? How'd you do that? This like.
If she like had these elaborate stories. Oh man.
That is epic. Damn.
That is something.
So if one conclusion we have from this conversation is there was a lot of cool threads we could have pulled on, we didn't get a chance to. So that means you got to come back and be on a longer episode sometime down the line. If that's cool.
I'll do that. I would gladly come back.
Hell yeah. One of the episodes I'm trying to get you on, I'm trying to get like themed episodes like I was telling you about, and Nick and I have been brainstorming about ways to do it. So siblings that sold books is cool, but then also maybe like mom and or parents and kids. So like maybe to have you back on with your dad and kind of share what that
my
dynamic
brother sold
was.
books too. You could have a family trio.
And I was thinking, I want like your like someone older. So if like your aunt or anybody like that wants to be on, just to share what it used to be like to sell books back then. That would be awesome. Yeah, heck yeah, I would love that. So we'll stay in touch with that. Nick, any announcements?
We got an episode coming up on Sunday with Kevin Flavin of the Eagle Blitz organization out of Texas A&M. The next Thursday, the 4th, we will. I think that's the 4th. Is that the 4th? That's when we got Fido, right?
No, we got Fido on the 7th.
That's lovely.
Okay. We got Fido on the 7th, or before the Super Bowl. So we won't be going live during the Super Bowl. It'll be earlier in the afternoon. So if you're watching or listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music, tune in for that live on our Facebook page, Ponytails Podcast. It has been a pleasure having Alena Arendt, the myth, the woman, the legend. So many lessons I've learned from you, valuable lessons that I still learn even today. I am reminded of how cool and badass that you are. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being on here.
Thanks, Andres and Nick. Right back at both of you. I think it's great you guys are doing this. It's fun. It's awesome.
Like us on Facebook, follow us along. We're on you can listen at your convenience, on Spotify and on Apple Music, or on the podcast app. Follow, like, share. Please do it. We're just trying to do this for fun, but maybe it goes into something cool. And there's a lot of stories and a lot of alumni, so we won't run out of content.
No, you definitely won't anytime soon. So probably never. So
so maybe eventually it becomes a thing and people can come in and plug their stuff that they're doing now. Can they just share fun conversation? So
absolutely.
Cool.
That's great.
Well, that's it for us today. Thank you so much, Alena. Love you. Nick, love you too. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you guys. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.